Whoever gets angry first loses. It is the oldest rule of human dynamics. It has been true in every culture, every era, every room where two people have ever locked eyes and decided who was going to dominate who. And yet, look around you. Look at how easily people fall apart. A single word, a slight shift in tone, one disrespectful look, and suddenly someone who seemed completely composed just ignites. They raise their voice, they defend themselves, they start trying to prove a point to someone who was never interested in the truth, someone who was only there to pull the trigger and watch them explode. They become puppets, and the person pressing their buttons is holding all the strings. Think about the last time you lost your temper. Maybe it was an argument with someone close to you. Maybe it was a coworker who crossed a line. Maybe it was a stranger who said exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong moment. You said things you did not mean. You escalated when you should have gone silent. And when it was over, you walked away with your heart pounding, your mind replaying every second, searching for the version of you that should have shown up instead. Then came the regret. Not just because of what you said, but because of what you revealed. Because in that moment, someone else reached inside you and pulled out a reaction you did not choose. They controlled you, and you felt it. That feeling, that quiet shame after losing control, that is not weakness. That is your instinct telling you that something needs to change. A level of psychological mastery that the top 1% of people use to move through chaos without breaking a sweat, without raising their voice, without ever needing to prove a single thing. It is not about suppressing your emotions.
It is not about biting your tongue until you bleed on the inside. It is about replacing reaction with cold, calculated observation. This is the non-reactive protocol. For the next few minutes, I am going to show you how to build a wall around your mind that no one can penetrate. I am going to teach you how to absorb an attack, read the hidden desperation behind your aggressor's eyes, and dismantle them completely, using nothing but the weight of your own silence. If you are tired of handing your power to people who have not earned it, pay very close attention. Part 1. What they are actually hunting for. To neutralize a manipulator, you must first understand what they are really after. They do not want to win an argument. They do not want to be right. They want your reaction. Your anger is their reward. Your frustration is their fuel. Your desperate need to explain yourself and be understood, that is exactly the supply they came to collect. When someone insults you, they are throwing a hook into the water. It is bait, carefully designed to look like an attack, but functioning as an invitation. The moment you raise your voice to defend yourself, you swallowed the hook. You just agreed, without realizing it, to play their game, on their terms, on their battlefield. And on their battlefield, they always win, because they chose the terrain. So, how do the people who never seem rattled actually do it? How do they stand in the middle of someone else's storm and remain completely dry? They use a concept that most people never encounter. It is called the integration of the shadow. An insult only has power if it lands on a wound you have been hiding. If someone calls you stupid and you know you are intelligent, you do not get angry, you might even laugh. Because the accusation has no anchor inside you. But if someone pokes at something you are secretly ashamed of, something you have been avoiding, something you have never fully faced, you explode every time. The most psychologically dangerous people on earth are not the ones who never made mistakes. They are the ones who have already looked directly at their own flaws, their own failures, their own darkness, and made peace with it. Because once you own your shadow, no one can weaponize it against you. You cannot use my weaknesses against me if I have already claimed them. When a person has nothing to hide, they have nothing to defend. And when they have nothing to defend, they become completely unreachable. Insults pass through them like wind through an open window. That is not arrogance. That is freedom. Part 2. The discipline of attention. Most people misunderstand what it means to stay calm under pressure. They think it means clenching your jaw, digging your nails into your palms, forcing yourself not to speak while everything inside you is screaming. That is not composure. That is a pressure cooker, and eventually, pressure cookers explode. True calm is not the suppression of emotion. It is the redirection of attention. This is the exact framework taught to hostage negotiators, intelligence operatives, and elite military units who operate in environments where one emotional reaction can cost lives. When someone is screaming at you, insulting you, trying to dominate the room with their aggression, do not listen to their words. The words are a trap. They are designed to provoke. Analyzing them, responding to them, trying to construct a logical counterargument in real time. That is exactly what they want you to do. Instead, shift your attention entirely.
Stop seeing this person as a threat. Start seeing them as a subject of study, a biological specimen, something fascinating that you are observing from behind glass. Look at their body, not their face, their body. Notice the vein pulsing in their neck. Watch how fast they are blinking. Look at their hands. Are they trembling slightly? Look at their chest. Is their breathing shallow and irregular? When you do this, something remarkable happens inside your brain. You shift from the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear and emotional reaction, to the prefrontal cortex, the center of logic, strategy, and cold analysis. And so while they are losing control, while they are performing their chaos for the room, you are collecting data. You are noticing that their hands are shaking, that their voice is cracking, that they are repeating the same accusations in different words because they have already run out of material. You are not seeing power, you are seeing desperation. And that shift in perception changes everything, because you cannot be dominated by someone you pity. Part 3. The architecture of the frame. Now they have finished. They threw everything they had, every insult, every accusation, every attempt to make you small. And now they are standing there, slightly out of breath, waiting for the part where you break. This is the most important moment. This is where everything is decided. And what you are about to do will feel completely unnatural. You are going to do nothing. You are going to hold the 4-second pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Do not look away. Do not shift your weight. Do not clear your throat or adjust your collar. Hold completely still and let your eyes stay locked on theirs.
4 seconds of silence after an emotional outburst is eternity. Most people have never experienced it, and the effect on the aggressor is immediate and visceral. Their brain expected resistance. It was bracing for impact. When no impact comes, when they start to feel exposed, the silence becomes a mirror, and in that mirror they see exactly what they just did. Every word, every gesture, every second of their own loss of control reflected back at them without commentary. They will feel childish. They will feel unstable. And if there are other people watching, they will look exactly like what they are. Someone who just fired every round they had and missed. Then, and only then, you speak. But not in your normal voice. You use what FBI negotiators call the late-night DJ voice. Low pitch, slow tempo. Every sentence ending with a downward inflection. No urgency, no tension. The voice of someone who has all the time in the world and nothing to prove to anyone. And you do not address their accusations. You do not defend yourself. You do not explain. You look at them with a calm, almost concerned expression and you say, "Are you okay?" Or you say, "You seem very worked up right now. We can continue this when you are ready to have an actual conversation." And then you turn away, slowly, without drama. The devastation of this move is difficult to overstate. They spent all of their emotional energy trying to move you. They brought everything they had, and they hit concrete. Now they are standing in the wreckage of their own outburst, with no response to point to, no escalation to justify, and no version of this story where they look like the composed one. You did not win by being louder. You did not win by being smarter in the argument. You won by refusing to participate.
That is frame control. The person who maintains their internal state in the middle of chaos does not just win the exchange, they dictate the emotional reality of the entire room. Part 4. The identity beneath the protocol. The techniques matter. The 4-second pause, the late-night DJ voice, the shift from emotional reaction to analytical observation. These are real, they are powerful, and they work. But techniques alone are not enough.
because techniques can be forgotten under pressure, and pressure is exactly when you need this most. What makes this permanent is identity. The people who are truly non-reactive are not people who are constantly managing themselves. They are people who have fundamentally changed how they see themselves in relation to the world. They have done the shadow work. They have sat with their insecurities, their past failures, the things they are most ashamed of, and they have looked at them directly instead of running from them. And in doing that, they removed the ammunition that most people hand to their enemies without even knowing it. They have also made a decision, quietly and without announcement, about what kind of energy they are willing to receive. They have stopped treating other people's chaos as something they are obligated to respond to. Think of it this way. When it rains, the rain does not ask your permission, it simply falls. But you get to decide whether you stand in it or step inside. Most people stand in every storm because they believe engagement is strength, because they were taught that walking away is cowardice, that silence means you have nothing to say. But the most powerful people understand something different. Silence is not the absence of a response. Silence is the response.
The most controlled, the most deliberate, the most psychologically precise response available to you. When you choose silence over reaction, you are not retreating. You are demonstrating, without a single word, that their attempt to destabilize you has failed completely. That is not weakness. That is the highest form of dominance. Part 5. The Ascension. Let me bring this together. The non-reactive protocol is built on 3 foundations. The first is shadow integration. Own your flaws before someone else tries to use them. When you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to defend. And when you have nothing to defend, you become a ghost to your enemies. Their words pass through you and land on empty air. The second is the discipline of attention. When someone attacks you, do not listen to their words, watch their body. Shift your brain from emotional response to cold analysis. Study them. Because the moment you see their desperation clearly, their power over you disappears. The third is frame mastery, the 4-second pause, the late-night DJ voice, the calm, unhurried disengagement that communicates, more clearly than any argument ever could, that you are simply operating at a different level than what they brought to this room. This is not a trick you use once and forget. This is a way of moving through the world. When you internalize this, something permanent changes. Disrespect stops landing. Manipulation becomes transparent. The people who used to be able to ruin your day with a single comment will lose that access entirely. And the people who matter, the ones who recognize real composure when they see it, will begin to treat you differently. Because you will walk into rooms differently. You will hold eye contact longer. You will speak less and mean more.
And when conflict comes, because it always comes, you will meet it not with your emotions, but with your presence. Calm, rooted, unreachable. If you watch this far, your focus and discipline are already above 99% of people consuming content online. You have what it takes to apply this. Now make it real. Drop "I am a wall" in the comments below. Not as a phrase, as a declaration, as a line in the ground that says, from this point forward, I choose my reactions. No one takes them from me. The protocol is active, and they will never see you bleed again.